my presentation is about the science behind meditation. First of all, we need to know what meditation actually is. So according to this definition, meditation is a type of mental exercise during which one can focus their vision towards one minute point. For example, we focus on the forebrain whenever we do the Tratak sadhana. We focus on the flame and we focus it on the forebrain, which is that portion between your eyebrows. So that's meditation basically. This is the scientific definition of meditation. And the mechanism, in order to experience meditation, it's required to go through a preparatory exercise called pranayama. Like whenever we had those sessions 3 days ago, we went through pranayama first and yoga, and then we started into the sadhanas. So it's required to go to pranayama. And second, after relaxing the body, when you close your eyes and focus on, when you close your eyes and focus on a certain entity, the chakras in your body soon begin to enlighten. So that's when the actual meditation starts after pranayama. And this process results in a mind-boggling scientific enhancement of the entire body from head to toe. Pranayama is a preparatory event before meditation designed to enhance oxygen flow in the body. When you take deep breaths, every time you take a deep breath, it pushes the lungs, it pushes the alveoli chambers in the lungs to open up. And it involves a cycle of, I'll let him come in here.
They're both running.
It involves a cycle of deep breathing, and there are several types. Anulom-Vilom, which you've probably heard, is the one that's the most popular, I guess, the one that most people do, and is the example that we're going to use today. So the next slide is about Anulom-Vilom. As you can see, the thumb is pressing the right nostril while the person is inhaling air through the left nostril. Then after a brief pause in breath, the person would have closed the left nostril with the small finger and let go of the right nostril to exhale, starting the cycle again. Throughout this process, the person's middle finger is slightly pressing the space between his eyebrows. So that's Anulom-Vilom, and that's the example of pranayama we're going to use today. So now let me explain to you the science of pranayama related to the lungs. Human lungs contain billions of little chambers called alveoli, and these chambers are responsible for absorbing CO2 and releasing absorbing O2 and releasing CO2. And normal healthy people only use 25% of these chambers for their daily respiration, which is daily breathing. So pranayama provides a surge of oxygen to the alveoli through deep breaths. When you take deep breaths again and again, the alveoli are pushed to open. And also the small pause taken between the inspiration and expiration creates a pressure that opens closed alveoli. So whenever you pause between the breaths in pranayama, you have the alveoli are pushed. They're pushed downwards, and more air is pushed through more alveoli. So the chambers actually begin to open up. And pranayama is able to press air along with oxygen to the remaining 75% chamber of the lungs after repeated pranayama. And the absorbed oxygen from the enhanced area of the lungs will be transferred to each and every tissue of the body through arterial blood, including the brain also. And doing it again and again, you might not believe this, but if you do it again and again, if all the chambers of the lungs are opened up, it is possible for a man to walk on water. That's how light you become if all the chambers in the lungs are open. That's pretty interesting. And now let's go to how pranayama affects the brain. The brain also contains billions of neurons, nerve cells. And normal healthy people use only 13% of their brain's capacity for their daily life. And with increased oxygen through blood flow into the brain through pranayama, as a result of larger lung capacity, you have more oxygen coming to the brain. So the brain is supplied with circles of oxygen through blood. This activates idle tissues of the brain, thus increasing overall efficiency. Just think about it. The brain needs oxygen to perform its duty, and whenever you give it more oxygen, its performance is enhanced. So it pushes the brain to use more than 13% of the brain's capacity. But when we actually go into meditation and activation of the chakras, that's what really pushes the brain's capacity. So let's go to the next slide. Benefits of pranayama. As I talked about earlier, it increases respiratory surface of the lungs, opening up closed alveoli, and it increases oxygen absorbing capacity. And the brain becomes more energized due to a higher supply of oxygen. And as I talked about, you could walk on water by repeated exercise. That's how light makes you. So now let's go into the actual meditation. We need to know about the chakras. There are a total of 7 chakras in the body. The crown chakra, well, it starts from the bottom actually. The first chakra is the root chakra, located at the bottom of your torso, and the sacral chakra located in the lower abdomen, the solar chakra located at your navel, and the heart chakra located in your chest, along with the throat chakra, your neck, and the brow chakra, which is the ABHI chakra in your pineal gland surface. And the crown chakra, which is the first chakra, is located on top of your head. And the next one is just a little chakra chart. I can't see it right now. When you actually look at the presentation, you can like read all about it. It's just a chakra chart. I just decided to put it in my presentation. And let's talk about the root chakra. That's the symbol. And in Sanskrit, you call this the Muladhara. It's shown as having 4 petals, bearing the Sanskrit letters Va, Sha, Sa, and Sa. The seed sound in the center is Yam, and the Dhamma of earth is shown here in the outline as a yellow square. So that's how in Hinduism you symbolize the root chakra. Its role is to provide stability, and its primary function is survival and grounding. And it's located at the base of the spine, the bottom of your torso. And it can be activated by certain yoga asanas or any meditation focused on the root of the spine. The root chakra is most closely related to the gonads, which are the reproductive glands of the body, and the adrenal medulla, which is a portion of the adrenal gland, which is located on top of the kidney. So those are the glandular associations. Root chakra activation. Meditation allows man to have complete control of the brain over time. And when a person meditates for root chakra activation, he or she imagines cerebrospinal fluid being pushed to the root of the spine. The imagination triggers brain to run a sodium pump towards the root. A sodium pump is basically a chain of electrons, so sodium and phosphate electrons. They run from the pituitary gland of the brain to the base of the spine whenever you perform this meditation. And the increased energy created by the pump activates all concerned organs of the root. All organs around your torso are activated and are enhanced. And for example, the testes required for male reproduction, epinephrine from the adrenal medulla, which promotes survival and grounding, and your rear end for stability. And the sacral chakra is the second chakra found in the lower abdomen. It is a center for creativity, sexuality for females, desire, pleasure, self-confidence, and well-being. So it mostly linked to kama, which is one of the spiritual. Yeah. Yeah. This can be activated by meditation. Again, focus on the spinal nerve of the pelvic girdle, and that's the symbol. Similar to the root chakra, the sacral chakra's activation heavily relies on the cerebrospinal fluid reaching the area. This and the root chakra are actually very similar. In fact, this chakra is sometimes not even included because of how similar it is to the root chakra, and most people only use like 6 chakra, but I decided to add this one in just to show like a bigger image, I guess. And again, the adrenal medulla gives it epinephrine, which improves its performance and promotes feelings of self-confidence and well-being. This chakra is actually very important. It is the base of power for man, the solar plexus chakra. According to ancient Hindu mythology, it is like the base of power. It's your sun. It's your body's sun. And it is located at the mouth of the stomach. In other words, the navel. It is a center of willpower, determination, assertion, power, laughter, joy, and anger. All those feelings arise from that area of the body. And this can be activated by meditation focusing on the navel, like we did some sadhanas a couple of days ago around like focusing on the navel. Alright, so when meditation is focused on the navel, the area surrounding the navel demands activity of the adrenal cortex and pancreas. The adrenal cortex is the second part of the adrenal gland. The adrenal medulla is on top of the adrenal gland, and the adrenal cortex is on the bottom. And then the brain sends an electrochemical signal in the form of ACSH, adrenal cortex stimulating hormone, secreted from the anterior pituitary gland. Then the adrenal cortex releases hormones called glucocorticoid, sex steroids like estrogen and testosterone, and mineralocorticoid, which is your vitamins and minerals. It's a hormone coming out of the adrenal cortex. These hormones control carbohydrate metabolism and regulation of sexual activities, and also control on mineral metabolism as well. So it's like very important for your body because it allows your body to absorb a lot of minerals and a lot of different hormones that activate the solar plexus chakra. And activation of this chakra, it directly links to the function that Hindu mythology provides for it. Power, joy, laughter, all comes from these hormones. And so these hormones are actually what the science is behind the solar plexus chakra. And then we move on up to the heart and lung chakra, which is located in the middle of your chest. And it's the fourth chakra. And that's the symbol. And it symbolizes love, empathy, selflessness, and devotion. On the psychic level, the center of force inspires the human being to love, be compassionate, altruistic, devoted, and to accept things that happen in a divine way. And activation. The heart and lung chakra is activated by repeated meditation focusing on the chest. There are also different sadhanas for this one. We haven't gone through any of those, but there are a lot of sadhanas that you can use for promotion of your heart and your lung. And as a result of meditation, there's a chemical called acetylcholine that moves through nerve cells and activates the nerves concerned with the heart and lungs. Autonomous nerves, what they're called. And which provide their secretory products to work them properly. Thus, this meditation results in a very healthy heart and sound breathing. And pranayama also provides the same benefit to the lungs. So when you do like a full cycle of meditation, you're getting like double benefit in your lungs. So it's actually really good for your lungs. And for your heart, you'll never have cholesterol when you do this type of sadhana. When you activate your heart and lung heart chakra, the cholesterol it goes through very smoothly because of the acetylcholine. The more acetylcholine that moves through your nerve cells, the faster your heart works and the more efficient it becomes. And then we move on to the throat chakra. Now you see the symbol, and it's located at the base of the throat. The activation point is actually behind your vocal box. A lot of people think it is your vocal box, like your throat chakra, but there's no gland in your vocal box. All the glands are located behind it. And the function of this chakra is communication, expression, eloquence, and synthesis of voice. Activation of this one is said to bring about the following occult powers: power by word and freedom from disease and old age. And the scientific interpretation, you can see in the picture, showing you the thyroid gland, which is a very big gland in all the functions in the body. The anterior pituitary gland receives a signal, like this is how it becomes activated. The anterior pituitary gland receives a signal through neurons, releasing thyroid stimulating hormone, which reaches the thyroid gland and activates the thyroid cells to secrete thyroxine hormone, which is rich in iodine. This hormone regulates the synthesis of sound in the larynx. Also, this hormone prevents hypo or hyperthyroidism. So when you look at it, in reality, it actually does do all the things that are mentioned in the roles of this chakra. Because your iodine gives you your power to speak, and it gives you a certain weight tone to your voice. The more iodine you have, the deeper your voice is. And then we have the ABHI chakra, which is probably the most important chakra in your body. And it is also called the third eye because of its extrasensory perception. It's located between the eyebrows, and its primary functions include direct perception, intuition, imagination, and visualization. Also, concentration of your brain, self-mastery, and of course, extrasensory perception. In other words, it's the sixth sense. According to ancient Hindu texts, a person who activates their ABHI chakra is said to have become omniscient. In Sanskrit, we call this Trikaldarshi. And Swami Vivekananda, Gurudev, all of these people have already activated their ABHI chakra. That's what makes them able to see the future and makes them basically omniscient. Scientifically, the ABHI chakra is a pineal gland located at the dorsal portion of the human midbrain. A lot of people say it's also the pituitary gland, but in reality, actually the pineal gland is located back here and the pituitary gland is located right here. So it's linked together, and that's what makes your third eye. Now, I want you guys to try a little exercise here with me, right? So get your thumbs and put it in your ear. Cover your eyes and just say, All right, so what did you feel? Vibrations? What kind of vibrations? What did they do? Did they energize you? Did it make your head feel heavy? No? these are the vibrations that energize all the organs inside of your head. When you give these vibrations are actually electrochemical signals. And moving on, the pineal gland controls wake-sleep functions, like what you dream, and what you dream about, and what you see when you're asleep, and how your hormonal changes while you're asleep. That's all controlled by the pineal gland. It's a small endocrine gland, the vertebrate gland, which is like the midriff. It produces the serotonin derivative melatonin, a hormone that affects the modulation of wake-sleep patterns and seasonal functions. Its shape resembles a tiny pine cone, and it is located near the center of the brain, between the two halves, tucked in a groove, where the two rounded thalamic bodies join, the hypothalamus and the thalamus. And some more science behind the third eye. Through meditation, a lot of energy in the forebrain portion is directed towards the middle point in the form of electrochemical signals. So when you meditate on your forebrain, a lot of electrochemical signals reach your pineal gland. And it results in the secretion of a pineal hormone called melatonin, as I mentioned earlier. And this hormone gives a signal of day and night to the brain, and is more active during the night. This hormone also uses the dormant energy of the brain, which is nearly 87%. And all the directions forming an energy circle called an aura. Because of meditational vibration, the aura, like the vibrations you felt just now when you did that exercise, the aura reaches all of the dormant parts of the brain. It gives a plethora of energy to the brain, and also makes the person aware and in control of their brain. Like we do the Trataksana, we do the exercise that I just showed you, and it makes your brain more efficient. It makes your memory better, it makes your concentration better, and this is basically the science behind it. All it is vibrations. Vibrations reaching to your brain and creating an aura, a burst of energy.
The pineal gland is located within the vertebrae.
This is like an embedded video I did. I thought there was going to be speakers here.
It is roughly the size of a grain of rice and is fully grown at 2 years of age. The gland is stimulated by darkness and hindered by light. It produces melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone which influences your biological clock. It is said that the pineal gland is the crown chakra, or the third eye, and that it is a bioluminescent gland that can improve learning capabilities, increase memory, enhance intuition, wisdom, and creativity, and may be the link to enhancing psychic abilities. A healthy lifestyle of exercise, outdoor activities, eating natural unprocessed foods, and reducing your sugar intake will be the first steps to activating your pineal gland. The pineal gland resembles a pine cone. The pine cone has been used in symbolism for thousands of years. Many historical figures, from Osiris to the Pope, hold a staff with the pine cone. There is no question that the pineal gland and its purpose have been known throughout history. There is also no question that those in power have suppressed the development and knowledge of the pineal gland. For example, this model brain for educational purposes does not even label the pineal gland. So if the pineal gland is activated by dark, then why don't we live our waking hours at night and sleep during the day? Or if the pineal gland is hindered by light, then why do we stare into TV and computer screens blasting light into our eyes? Well, I think the suppression of the pineal gland is obvious. Spiritually strong people are very hard to break down and made into mindless drones. Free thought and expression should never be suppressed. So explore the infinite universe within you. Balance your mind, and anything is possible.
So that was just going over the pineal gland phenomena. Next one. Then let's talk about the last chakra in the body, the crown chakra. Its main functions are knowledge, leadership, and higher consciousness. And this is the crown of your head. It's actually a symbol of all of these things, because it is the crown of your head contains glands that are the master of all the glands in your body. In other words, the pituitary gland or the pineal gland. Like this whole area in your head is like the master of your entire body. It's the master of all of your functions. And activation of this chakra results in the awakening of the Kundalini power. Since this is the last chakra in the body, after you have activated this, all 7 chakras are activated. And when all 7 chakras are activated, it's called Kundalini. And because of this, all chakras of the body have been enlightened. So you basically become a master of your entire body. You can control everything after you have activated this chakra. And activation. When focusing on the crown of the head, meditational force is exerted on the hypothalamus, which is located on top of the pineal gland, in which neurosecretory cells start the secretion of neurohormones. that enter the bloodstream and activate the pituitary gland. And the pituitary gland releases 7 hormones that reach all 7 of the main glands of the body, or in other words, all 7 chakras. Once all the hormones have done their job, all glands of the body are activated. The activation allows man to be a complete master of his physical and mental body. And after all your glands have been activated, there's a feedback mechanism that controls this. Meditation results in the activation of all glands of the body, as I said earlier, and makes the hormones move through the bloodstream and deposit wherever it is necessary. After fulfillment of hormonal levels, the chemical signals return back to the concerned glands and tell them not to secrete more hormone. This is called a feedback mechanism, in which the glands usually send signals to each other to stop and secrete whenever appropriate. Because once you're activating all these glands, it doesn't just keep on secreting hormones, or else it's going to run out. So there's a feedback mechanism that controls it. In conclusion, meditation is just a scientific phenomenon to make the entire physiology of the body balanced. It results in making the body tissues extensively healthy and preventing any sorts of disease. When all of your glands work properly, you have attained a mastery over your complete body. When you've achieved mastery, there's no question of disease. There's no question of being unhealthy. So yeah, that's basically the end of my presentation. Sorry if I spoke really fast, so I was trying to cut down the time. But do you have any questions?
You know the picture that you have for all of the
Yeah.
Why do you have more petals every time?
Why do we have more petals every time?
Yeah.
Which
Like
one are we
if you
talking
look
about?
at all of them, you have more petals each time.
Because as you go up, the chakras become more important as you go up. Like when you reach the ABHI chakra, the crown chakra actually has like 1,000 petals. So it's like a symbol of importance in Hindu mythology. That's the symbol, yeah. Because you only have 4, and then you have 6, and then it keeps on going to 1,000 in the crown.
How are like the symbols created? Like
How are the symbols created? Well, these symbols are from the Vedas. They're like from the spiritual books of Hindu mythology. That's where they came from.
You know how you said there was tubes in your lungs that open?
Sorry, repeat that.
You know how you said there was tubes in your lungs that open when you breathe? How long do they take to open and close? Like,
Repeated practice, really.
but once you open it, how long does it take for it to close? For when it closes?
It's just
Well, it's like whenever it's your breathing cycle. Like whenever you don't, like whenever you stop breathing in the middle of pranayama, it pushes the alveoli. And when you exhale, right? When you exhale, it releases a burst of CO2, and so that causes other alveolar chambers to be open to take the capacity. So that's basically how it works. When you don't, like when you inhale, the chambers are closed.
So meditation helps us attain control over the glands, and so basically we can control the hormone secretion in
Yeah, it's like it's scientifically that's what it does.
You have another question?
I do, but like it's not doing this. It's like
Sure, sure.
so you know how we watched the movie last night. Did Swami Vivekananda die of disease?
Yes.
Then if he's probably someone who can control his own body. Yes.
That's actually a balancing. What many great masters do is after blessing so many people, they take their bad karma onto them.
Yeah, they can't.
So they live up the rest of the life in misery. To
That's how they leave the
balance
visual
that.
seek. Because when they have no bad karma, it's like almost impossible to die.
So like when Gurudev and Mataji passed away, they decided they just decided it was time for me to leave my physical body, you know. And then both Gurudev and Mataji just went into meditation and they just released their physical body.
Yeah,
So it was just, you know, like we said before, our bodies are just a physical form. So they're still here in spirit, but they just decided that their work was done and their followers could carry on their message.
And think about this, when you meditate and you control over all the good things in the body, you also have control over all the bad things in the body. So whenever you, like the Swami Vivekananda and Gurudev, they all use that in order to leave their physical seeds.
I think like Dr. Saab said yesterday too, like, oh, I only have a good 20 years left before, you know, everybody else has to carry on the message, you know. When Gurudev realized, I think, that if he stayed here, people would be so focused on his physical form, his physical body, they would just like, you know, like how now people always crowd around Dr. Saab, they just want blessings, they just want to touch him, they just want to be near him. Gurudev realized that if he stayed in his physical form, that people would be too focused on receiving their blessings physically from him, but we still can receive blessings from Gurudev, just not the physical form, right? Make sense?
Yep.
Any more questions?
So yeah, what got you interested in this topic? I'm just curious.
What got me interested? My dad.
Okay.
Maybe do it.
Oh, maybe not that.
Where did you do your research?
My research, Wikipedia.
So before you did research on this, what was your curiosity about it? Like, what was it that made you look into all of this?
Because like whenever I hear about spiritual things like meditation and stuff, I wonder if this can really happen. And that's why I decided to explore the scientific aspects of it. And my grandfather is a zoology professor in India, so he helped me a lot with the research and everything. He basically knew all this stuff.
So beforehand, like when we talked about how Gurudev went into the mountains and all that stuff, you thought that was impossible. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
And now there's like a scientific backup to all those things. There's like, this can really happen, but it just takes repeated practice. Like
Right.
seeing the future and everything, it takes a lot of practice.
So one thing to note is that our body can almost be a slave to the mind, or even the
brain. Yeah, because you have computers, right? You look how fast the computer processors work these days, right? And humans make computers, so that makes the brain even stronger than that computer. So think about what the brain can do, just by looking at what computers can do. I mean, the brain can control everything. And when you control the brain, you control everything.
However, most times the way that we live now is that our body tends to control our mind. We kind of go from the outside world and let those kind of impulses affect our brain and thinking pattern. But as you kind of move up and kind of allow these variety of centers to be active and to be stronger, you start to become more and more in control of everything that happens physically. Not all at once, but as a gradual process. So even to the point of being able to leave your physical body at your will. So it's just a possibility of things that we can really accomplish, or we can almost do if we wanted to, through practice and through the ability of refining our centers.
Absolutely.
Let's give him another hand.